Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM. AM 630. WMAL.
737 on WMAL. KT McFarland, Fox News national security analyst, is on the line. You can also check her out on the web. DEFCON 3, her show, which you can check out live.foxnews.com from 2 to 3 this afternoon. Good morning, KT.
Good morning.
So you worked in Washington during the Cold War, so I wanted to get your take on this. Vladimir Putin throwing out there a Soviet Union 2.0 version, although he says it has nothing to do with the former Soviet Union, but the Eurasian Union, which would be make up of former Soviet nations. They would form an alliance. He says it's all about competing in the global economy. But I'm curious to get your take on, is this something we should be worried about in the U.S., or is this something we could actually get behind?
No, I don't think we get behind it, but I think it's inevitable that Russia and Germany have a new relationship because of economic reasons. Germany is the only country in Europe that really is vibrant economically, and it has money, and it has technology, and it has workers. What does Russia have? Russia has resources. What does Germany need? Resources. So it's a relationship that I think is just sort of bound to happen at some point, where the Russians need somebody's technology to develop their resources, their natural gas, their energy, their technology. I mean, they don't really make anything. They're a petro state. What they'd like to do is have more industry and high technology. Where do they get that from? Germany. And Germany needs Russian energy. So to me, it's a relationship that's going to inevitably happen anyway. There's just they have too much. It's a symbiotic relationship that just can't wait to happen.
I'm just curious to get your take. When the Berlin Wall fell in 91, did you expect the Soviet or Russia to be where it is today? Do you think it's more advanced than you thought, or
it's
not?
Different? When the Soviet Empire collapsed, we realized there was really nothing there. We thought they had a bigger military. We thought they had a better economic base. We thought they had more technology. It turned out that it was like false teeth. There really was no teeth there. But what Putin did, interestingly, is he was a graduate student at the time and Moscow University, and he wrote his graduate thesis, which you can get online in translation, and he wrote about how Russia could become a great world power again by exploiting its natural resources, that it could take its natural gas and sell it to Eastern and Western Europe and have them dependent on that gas, and it could sell its oil reserves, it's the world's second largest oil exporter, and get currency. And that's exactly what they've done, and that's why Putin is so popular in Russia today. He took Russia from just a chaotic beggar nation into a revived superpower. Now, albeit not what we thought it was, but certainly it's changed the lives of everyone there from what they thought they were going to have at this point. And he's got global ambitions. So as Putin comes back officially into power, he's been in power since the very beginning, even if Medvedev has been there. As he comes back into power, he's looking to expand his empire. He wants to reclaim what he had before, Eastern Europe and the stands, and he'd love to expand it into Western Europe. Right. The whole thing that we're watching now in history is that Germany and Russia are learning that you don't win by sending tanks into the other country. You win by economics.
Right. So we can get Putin's college thesis online, but we can't get Barack Obama's stuff online.
No, you can't hit. No way you get that.
Right. But you can have shirtless pictures of both.
That's true.
The big chatter in the international relations, foreign policy community is, does he do Botox?
Is that right? Well,
interesting.
Or P90X, perhaps.
Katie, I wanted to ask you about Al-Awlaki. Of course, Ron Paul coming out and saying this was unconstitutional, the president should be impeached.
Stop whining.
A few people on the left sort of holding consistent as they would have with George Bush and saying, yeah, this is out of line, but not going to cause too many problems for him. I wonder what you think about the sort of constitutional
Well, I think
discussion.
we have to figure out what we want to do going forward, because this is the new kind of warfare. It does not respect boundaries, whether it's the terrorists who are moving money and personnel and weapons across boundaries into failed states and attacking from anywhere in the world to anywhere in the world. We need to be able to track those guys and fight them, get rid of them, eliminate them, kill them, assassinate them, whatever you want to call it. And how do you do that? Well, two presidents of both parties and all the houses of Congress, both parties, have more or less unanimously, except for Ron Paul and a few people, said this is the way to go. Now, if for some reason some lawyer says, but we don't have the right statute, okay, get the right statute, because this is the future. And if we're going to tie our hands behind our backs and let enemy combatants roam the world looking for Americans to kill, using any weapons they can get their hands on. And we're somehow stuck in rules that were designed for nation states in the past. Then we got to wake up to it. The world is changing. Warriors are changing. We're no longer somebody who's an army member and he's got a uniform and he belongs to a certain country and he respects borders. That's the kind of war we've had for the last 1,000 years. This is a new kind of war.
Some argue it's better to capture these guys instead of killing them. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the problem with catching them is what do? Were you going to put them on trial? You're going to interrogate them. That would be terrific to interrogate them, get them information from them. But then what do? Do you put them in Gitmo? Oops, Holder won't do that.
Right.
Do you put them in military tribunals? Oops, the administration doesn't like to do that. So you're going to put them into civilian courts? Well, let's just watch how this underwear bomber trial goes.
If you had an administration that was willing to do the things necessary after the interrogation, would you rather have had al-Awlaki
Absolutely. Interrogate him and then put him into military tribunals, which again, both parties, houses of Congress, have set up in the wake of September 11th to deal exactly with this sort of thing. Yes, I want to get intelligence from them. Two kinds of intelligence. Operational intelligence. Do they know about some impending attack? And I want to get intelligence about the network. Who do they know?
Right.
We killed Osama bin Laden, but we got intelligence from them because we went in and got the hard drives and the computers.
KT, I want to ask you an update on the story that I'm actually very concerned about, sort of going unreported and not discussed a great deal, and that is the missing Stinger missiles that are in Libya. I mean, I have this growing sense of dread that it's only a matter of time until these weapons are used against us somehow. What's the latest on that?
The latest is that we don't. And we've been talking about this on this show for 6 months. One of the first things I said was when the Libyan engagement started was, where are his weapons of mass destruction? We know he's got them. Where are they? And now it's showing up that there are stores of chemical weapons that have been found. I think there's probably still some radiological materials around that could be used to make a dirty bomb. No, this stuff is now starting to show up in black markets. Anybody with any sense would have thought, gee, if Gaddafi goes, his military melts away, who's guarding all of those weapons caches around the country?
Yep.
Can we make sure that the rebels get them and secure them? We don't have any boots on the ground. Remember, we're death from above. So is anybody in there taking them? Because those are very valuable for looters and on the international black market. And from everything I've been able to glean inside and outside of government, know that they do not have a handle on this.
No. All right. That's a cheery thought to end on.
Yeah,
there.
it's always a happy time.
Thanks, KT. You can also watch KT 2 to 3 on DEF CON 3 at live.foxnews.com.
And we have Herman Cain on today.
Oh, really?
Talking about foreign
Cool
policy.
beans.
And he really knows his stuff. It turns out he's a former rocket scientist.
Yes, I heard